I've always considered myself a man who worked hard for what he had. From the moment I left my parents' small home at 18, with nothing but a few rupees in my pocket and my father's old wristwatch, I promised myself I'd build something worth leaving behind. For 40 years, I ran a small but thriving jewelry repair shop in Karachi. I wasn't rich, but I had earned comfort, respect, and a modest fortune. My greatest indulgence, my one passion, was collecting watches. Gold watches, to be precise. Some vintage, some modern, each with its own story, each marking a chapter of my life. My wife Samina often teased me. "You treat those watches like your children, Arif," she'd say, shaking her head with a smile. And I'd respond, "Maybe that's because watches don't talk back." We'd laugh and life would go on peacefully. But after Samina passed away 3 years ago, the laughter left our home. My son Bilal was my only family left. He had married a woman named Sarah a few years earlier, a charming, ambitious girl who seemed kind enough at first. Together, they lived in our upper portion while I stayed downstairs, surrounded by the quiet ticking of my watch collection. At first, I was glad they were close. I thought it would ease my loneliness. But with time, I noticed something changing, subtle at first, then painfully clear. Signs I ignored. Bilal stopped joining me for evening tea. When I asked if he'd eat dinner with me, Sarah would answer instead, saying he was busy with work or too tired. The few times I saw him, he seemed distracted, anxious, always checking his phone. Then one day, I overheard them arguing upstairs. The walls in this house are old, they carry sound too easily. I heard Sarah's voice, sharp, impatient. "We can't live like this forever, Bilal. We need money. Your father's just sitting on a pile of gold while we struggle." My heart sank. I didn't confront them then, maybe I didn't want to believe it. Instead, I decided to be kind. I offered to help them pay off whatever debts they had. Bilal smiled nervously, saying it was nothing, just temporary issues. I wanted to believe him, he was my son. The missing watch. A week later, I went to clean my display cabinet, the one where I kept my most prized pieces. A 1962 Omega Seamaster, a Rolex gifted by a longtime client, and my father's old gold radio that I had restored myself. But the radio was missing. At first, I thought I had misplaced it. My hands trembled as I searched every drawer, every case. I even checked my workshop, convincing myself I must have taken it there for polishing, but it was gone. I asked Bilal casually that evening, "Have you seen my old radio watch, the gold one?" He frowned and shook his head. "No, Abba, maybe you put it somewhere safe." Something about his tone, the way he avoided eye contact, made my stomach twist. I didn't sleep that night. The second disappearance. 3 days later, another watch vanished, my Omega Seamaster. This time I was certain. I had worn it the previous morning and placed it carefully back in its case after lunch. And now it was gone. The realization hit me like a physical blow. My hands went cold, my knees weakened. Could my own son? No, it couldn't be. But deep inside, I knew. Following the trail. The next morning, I decided to visit the nearby pawn shops. Karachi's Sadar area has plenty of them, small, dusty places where desperate people sell valuables for quick cash. I knew the owners well, after all, I was in the same trade. I went from shop to shop, asking discreetly if anyone had recently sold gold watches. The third shopkeeper, a man named Jamil, hesitated when I showed him a photo of my Omega. "Yes, someone did bring this in yesterday. A young man, maybe in his 30s, had a woman with him, said it was a gift he didn't need anymore." My chest tightened. "Did he sell it?" I asked. "Almost," Jamil said, "but I told him to come back today with ID for verification." I thanked him, heart pounding. The confrontation. That afternoon, I returned to the pawn shop not as a customer but as a father about to face betrayal. I stood near the counter, pretending to browse when I saw them walk in. Bilal and Sarah. Bilal was carrying a small velvet pouch, the same one I used for my gold watches. My throat tightened as I watched him place it on the counter. "We're here about the watches," he said softly. Jamil looked at me, eyes widening slightly in recognition, but stayed silent. I stepped forward, my voice trembling. "And what exactly are you doing with those watches, Bilal?" Sarah froze. Bilal turned around, his face draining of color. "Abba, I can explain." I raised my hand. "Explain, you stole from me, from your own father." The entire shop went silent. Jamil quietly excused himself to the back, leaving us alone. Bill stammered, "We needed money. Sarah's brother, he's in trouble. We were going to pay you back." Sarah interrupted, her voice cold. "It's not like you even wear them anymore. They're just sitting in a cabinet collecting dust." Her words cut deeper than she knew. "Those watches," I said slowly, "are memories, my life's work. Every one of them marks something I built, something I earned, and you tried to sell them like cheap trinkets." Bill's eyes filled with tears. "I'm sorry, Abba, I didn't know what else to do." I didn't respond. I simply took the pouch, opened it, and saw 3 of my watches inside, including my father's radio. I turned to Jamil and said quietly, "Thank you for your honesty." Then I walked out without another word. The silence that followed. When we got home, Bill and Sarah tried to talk. I refused. I went to my room, locked the door, and sat staring at the watches laid out before me. My hands shook as I polished them one by one, as if wiping away their betrayal. I didn't eat that night. I didn't sleep either. I just kept replaying the moment in the shop, the look on Bill's face, the coldness in Sarah's tone, and the hollow ache in my chest. In the morning, they were gone. They left a note. "Abba, we're sorry. We'll come back when you're ready to forgive us." I folded the note and placed it in the watch box next to the radio. Weeks of emptiness. Days turned into weeks. I told no one. I went to work as usual, but my heart wasn't in it. The house was too quiet now, no footsteps above, no laughter, no noise. Some nights I'd look upstairs, half expecting to hear them. Other nights I'd sit in the dark, turning my father's watch in my hand, wondering where I had gone wrong. Had I failed as a father? Had I loved too much or too little? Every watch I owned told a story of endurance, of resilience, of time well spent. Yet here I was, an old man surrounded by ticking reminders of everything he had lost. The unexpected visit. 3 months later, Bill returned alone. He looked thinner, older. His clothes were wrinkled and there were dark circles under his eyes. "Abba," he said quietly, standing at the doorway. I didn't move. "I came to say sorry, truly this time." His voice broke. He told me that after I'd caught them, Sarah had left him. She'd taken what little savings they had and gone to her parents' house. Bill had tried to find work, but no one wanted to hire someone with debts and no stability. He was living in a friend's spare room. He looked down. "I don't want your money, I just want you to forgive me." Something in his voice, raw, trembling, stripped of pride, reminded me of the boy who once ran to me with scraped knees, crying because he'd broken my watch while playing. That memory broke me. I stood, walked over, and put my hand on his shoulder. "Bill," I said softly, "time doesn't stop for anyone, but it does give us chances to make things right." He nodded, tears streaming down his face. I hugged him. For the first time in months, I felt warmth in that empty house again. Starting over. Over the next few weeks, Bill began helping me at the shop. At first, he swept floors, organized shelves, fixed simple clasps. Slowly, I taught him what I knew: how to polish gold without scratching it, how to identify real gems from fakes, how to handle a customer with respect. He learned quickly. He listened more than he spoke. And one day he surprised me. "Abba, I want to open a new section in the shop for pre-owned watches. I can manage it. Maybe this can be our business together." I looked at him, truly looked, and saw not the reckless young man who had stolen from me, but the humbled son who wanted to rebuild trust. So I agreed. The meaning of time. 2 years have passed since that day in the pawn shop. Bill now manages our store full-time. He pays our suppliers, greets customers with a smile, and often slips into my workshop to help repair watches. Sometimes I catch him polishing the radio, his grandfather's watch. He handles it gently with reverence. Once I asked him why. He smiled. "Because it reminds me that some things, like time and forgiveness, can't be bought or sold." I felt tears sting my eyes. Epilogue. People often think betrayal ends relationships, but sometimes it becomes the mirror that forces us to see who we truly are and who we still can be. I still remember the day I walked into that pawn shop, heart shattered, ready to disown my own son. But life, like time, keeps moving. It gives us chances to fix what's broken if we're patient enough to listen to its ticking. Now, every morning, I open my shop, watch the sun glint off the glass cases, and feel grateful. Not for the gold, not for the collection, but for the second chance life gave me. Because in the end, the most precious thing I ever owned wasn't my watches. It was time and the people I chose to spend it with.